The second presidential debate took place Tuesday night.
And the candidates are back on the campaign trail. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Channel 14 News. I'm Carson Fox.
And I'm Abigail Lutcher. 2 days after the debate in New York, Mitt Romney took his fight on the campaign trail after a heated debate. Romney still had his mind in New York as he traveled to Virginia yesterday. The debate got intense Tuesday night, with Romney bringing up the deaths at the U.S. consulate in Libya. President Obama also took to the campaign trail yesterday, emphasizing that, quote, "No acts of terror will ever shake this great nation." The political battle over the attacks in Benghazi has drawn attention away from both campaigns. Whether it's Romney on the economy or the president attacking Romney's record on China, the presidential debate was one of the most heated in history.
On Sunday, an Australian man jumped 24 miles down to Earth. Felix Baumgartner made history by jumping into the stratosphere from 128,000 feet above the Earth, higher than anyone before him. During freefall, he spun for a few moments, but was able to stabilize himself quickly. Along with the highest jump ever, Baumgartner also broke a record by going through the sound barrier outside a vehicle. He reached a top speed of more than 700 miles per hour, well past the speed of sound. The free fall lasted 4 minutes 19 seconds before his parachute opened. It's short of the longest free fall in history, but Baumgartner was able to land safely on his feet. The mission had been 5 years in the making. Baumgartner now looks to pursue an occupation as a helicopter rescue pilot.
The FBI arrested a man who attempted to blow up the New York Federal Reserve. Qazi Mohammed Rezanoui Hassan Nafis is charged with the failed attempt to explode a 1,000-pound bomb at the site. The arrested was one part of an ongoing sting operation by the FBI this year. The agency says the public was not in any danger since the bomb was never in working condition. The FBI says Nafis traveled to the United States in January of this year from Bangladesh. Nafis had plans to attack the New York Stock Exchange and high-ranking officials' offices, which would have included Barack Obama. The FBI has been on a streak of sting operations this past year. The agency foiled a Moroccan man's attempt to bomb Congress. The FBI also foiled a possible Cleveland Bridge bomb attack back in May.
Taking a multivitamin may be linked to helping lower the risk of most forms of cancer. The American Association for Cancer Research presented their findings in a conference on Wednesday in Anaheim, California. The findings showed patents of the study experienced 8% fewer cancers. Over 15,000 men took place in the 10-year study. The findings focused on high doses of vitamins like calcium and vitamin D. Even with these findings, the American Cancer Society strongly recommends a balanced diet on a consistent basis. The report will be published in the Journal of the American Medical Association.
Pennsylvania's longtime U.S. Senator Arlen Specter passed away this past weekend. We'll have all the details right after the break.
Longtime U.S. Senator Arlen Specter died at his home this past Sunday, October 14th. He died from non-Hodgkin lymphoma at the age of 82. He had fought off Hodgkin lymphoma twice before, as well as overcoming a brain tumor and cardiac arrest following a bypass surgery. Specter had been in the Senate for 30 years after losing his seat in 2010. In a dark time for our nation, he was willing to lose his seat to cast a decisive vote, said Specter's son Shannon. Specter lost his seat in the Senate after crossing lines to vote for President Barack Obama's stimulus package and then later switching parties. It wasn't until August that Specter announced that he was yet again battling cancer. His friends say he left a great legacy and most prominent of those, the $10 million he made in federal money that he steered into cancer research. Spector's funeral was this past Tuesday, with Pennsylvania governors, federal judges, and hundreds of friends and family showing up to mourn his death.
Pittsburgh police and the arson squad were called to investigate the discovery of a trio of homed explosive devices between North Belfield Avenue and Bayard Street Tuesday evening. Pittsburgh police were the first to arrive to dispose of the pop bottle bombs. It was then that the third device exploded outside of a parking garage. North Avenue was closed for hours after the explosives were found. University of Pittsburgh students said it sounded more like gunshots than explosives. No injuries were reported, and police are still trying to find the suspects. If they find the suspects who made these bombs, they will be taken into custody and could possibly face charges of criminal mischief and risking a catastrophe.
After a fatal house fire in Greenfield left 2 dead, the community prepares to say their goodbyes. 2 children were killed in the house fire on Mira Street last Friday. The family lost everything in the fire. They would like to stay in Greenfield, so Councilman Corey O'Connor is in the process of leading an effort to finding them a new home. The school's parent-teachers organization is heading up an effort to get the family everything they need to start over in their new home. To address more long-term needs, First National Bank has set up the Hayward Family Fund. This fund will help with things such as the funeral expenses and where they are going to live.
64-year-old Charlene Walters was only one of 3 people shot at a local youth football game in East Liberty this past Saturday. Police are still investigating what is now the murder of Walters. Walters died Monday night. Police are in the process of obtaining warrants to help track down the suspect or suspects. According to police, only one of the victims was the actual intended target, and his son was playing in the game. The victim was 26-year-old and was hit along with Walters and a 33-year-old woman who got shot in the hand. All injuries were attended to except for Walters, whose injury was fatal. The shooting will bring changes to football games in the area from now on. These changes include having 2 police officers present at each game, as well as wanding each attendee before entering the game.
A local former elementary school is not up for purchase. All that and more coming up next.
Hey there. Hi! I haven't seen you before.
Yeah, I just moved here. I'm new. Wanna hang out or something? 'Cause I have a feeling we're gonna be best friends.
Things can get pretty ugly when you're bored. In an after-school program, you can find something way better to do.
The Central Green School Board discussed on Tuesday the availability of purchase of former Perry Elementary School. The school, located in Mount Morris, closed at the beginning of the 2011-2012 school year as a cost-saving measure. The school board first considered close the facility when it learned the state was considering cutting a large percentage of funding for public schools. Students who attended Perry Elementary before the closing now attend Waynesburg Central Elementary Center. The former school building is available for purchase. Sealed bids must be submitted by 1 p.m. on Friday, October 26th.
The Greene County Department of Recreation will offer a fall cake decorating class on October 30th at the Greene County Fairgrounds. The class will be led by Yvonne Lee of Carmichael's on the lower level of the 4-H building. The class focuses on creating cakes and cupcakes for the fall season, as well as how to use buttercream and fondant. The class costs $25, and the pre-registration deadline is October 29th. Supplies will be provided. To pre-register, call the Department of Recreation at 724-852-5323.
Students gathered in Stover Tuesday night for Who's Your Neighbor Week to discuss saving the world one orange at a time. Students came together for a presentation and discussed on exploring the themes of hospitality and self-preservation. Assistant Director of Student Res Life And resident director of Pollock, East, West, and South Halls, Ashley Kelver, hosted the event in hopes that students would take away the self-preservation message of the evening. While the theme of Who's Your Neighbors Week is It's the End of the World as We Know It, students learn that even though it may be the end of the world, it's possible to still be good neighbors.
This past weekend, Waynesburg held the Greene County Historical Society Harvest Festival. Megan Bales has more on this story.
Somebody, charge, bayonet! Ah!
From 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, October 13th and Sunday, October 14th, the 41st Annual Greene County Historical Society Harvest Festival took place at the Greene County Historical Museum in Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. The festival has been a yearly event since 1972. Festivities included commercial vendors, handmade crafts, homemade food, living Civil War encampments, Civil War reenactments, and live entertainment and demonstrations. Demonstrations of the use of a printing press, the running of the W&W engine number 4, and the carving of wood sculptures kept audiences' attention while traveling throughout the festival. Admission was a donation of either $5 or 3 non-perishable food items. Over the course of 2 days, $13,000 was collected, as well as 1,200 pounds of food. The Harvest Festival proves to be a place for children and adults alike. The success of this year's festival keeps the Greene County Historical Society optimistic about the Harvest Festival staying alive for years to come.
Coming up after the break, Nika Anschutz will have your business report. Stay tuned.
Waynesburg Boroughs VFW will be holding a chicken roast for every home football game for the remainder of the season. Come out and support your local veterans.
So, are you going out tonight? I can't. My parents say I have to be home right after work. That's so gay. Totally gay.
Ugh, that is so Emma and Julia.
Why are you saying that's so Emma and Julia?
Well, you know when something is dumb or stupid, you say that's so Emma and Julia.
Who says that?
Everyone.
Imagine if who you are were used as an insult. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
Fall means the need for more heat to heat homes. Nika, can you tell us more about this issue?
Yes, I can, Carson. It's that time of year again where the temperatures are dropping, causing energy bills to rise. The U.S. Department of Energy says to help keep those bills lower, start with a thermostat. If it has not been upgraded recently, it might be smart to swap out an old manual device for a programmable one. The new thermostats allow you to program according to your home. The government's energy experts say you can save 5 to 15% just by lowering the temperature 10 to 15 degrees. Another way to save money is by performing a do-it-yourself energy audit, checking for air leaks, insulation problems, and make sure light bulbs aren't running up the electric bill. Full checklists are available at energy.gov. GM's luxury car brand Cadillac is going electric. The Detroit automaker announced on Tuesday their plan for the Cadillac ELR next year. The ELR, which is modeled after the Chevy Volt, will have an electric motor, powered by battery. The new car will also have a gasoline engine. GM says that the ELR will not look like the Volt, even though it is based off of it. The prototype calls for a 2-door coupe instead of a 4-door sedan. The Chevy Volt retails about $40,000. The price for the first Cadillac has not been released yet. American Airliners had a major loss in the third quarter. The airliner's holding company, AMR, says it had a net loss of $238 million this quarter. The company was charged in relation to last year's bankruptcy filing, causing the net loss. Those charges include more than $200 million in severance payments. Even with the net loss, American Airliners is still encouraging employees to retire as a part of the cost-cutting efforts. Education cuts in Spain have driven students into the streets. The harsh cuts have caused thousands of students to participate in marches across the country. Students participated in mass marches yesterday, targeting both major cities, Barcelona and Madrid. Spanish authorities have reduced public spending for education by more than $1.3 billion so far this year compared to last year. The education cuts are part of the Spanish government's effort to rein in the debt crisis. For Channel 14 Business, I'm Nika Anschutz. Your Jacket Sports Update with J.D. Leidick starts right after this.
The Waynesburg Area Chamber of Commerce represents member businesses, agricultural, professional, industrial, educational, and community interests that enhance economic and civil well-being. They operate with the approved chamber status of Pennsylvania Chamber of Commerce executives, one of only 12 in the state to qualify. They have dedicated a full-time office located on 143 East High Street to serve the needs of their members and to promote the Greene County area. Some of the many annual events they have committed themselves to include the annual Downtown Waynesburg Christmas Parade and the annual Members Golf Outing. On top of all these achievements and outings that they are involved in, they were also named as one of the 25 largest Chamber of Commerce in southwestern Pennsylvania by the Pittsburgh Business Times for the 7th year in a row. You can contact them for more information by visiting them during their office hours, Monday through Friday from 9:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. or calling them at 724-627-5926. You can also email them at waynesburgchamber@windstream.net. We saw a lot from our Waynesburg sports this week, especially our still undefeated football team. JD, can you tell us more about them?
Yes, I can, Abby. The Yellow Jacket fans were on the edge of their seats till late in this one. The undefeated Waynesburg University football team survived a scare this past Saturday against conference bottom leader Bethany, who was looking to pull the upset over the PAC leaders. Junior kicker Alex Henry was the hero for the Yellow Jackets, thanks to his 26-yard field goal that put them ahead of the Bison 23-21 with only 18 seconds left on the clock. Even after a 15-7 deficit going into halftime and losing 21-7 after the first drive of the third quarter for Bethany, Waynesburg and head coach Rick Shepis decided to not abandon the run game. That was good news for the 1-2 punch of Bertrand Ngampa and Dom Moore, whom both finished with 206 yards and 94 yards rushing. The offensive line was also honored as being the #1 rated offensive line of the week in the PAC. Safety Brian Gary recorded 13 tackles, and Jordan Helmick and John Sikora both added 9 of their own. And Brandon Fedorka added to his team-high sack lead with 7 and included 5 tackles. The 7-0 squad hits the road again this Saturday as they take on the Geneva Golden Tornadoes for a 4 o'clock kickoff. The men's and women's cross-country teams concluded their regular seasons this past weekend at the Gettysburg Invitational. The men finished 19th out of 35 teams and were led by top runners John Allison, Brandon Dugan, and Ben McCauley. These 3 runners produced the top 3 times in program history, and Allison became the first Waynesburg man to complete an 8K race in under 28 minutes. The women's squad finished 10th out of 36 teams and were led by senior Megan Fortna, who finished 13th out of 94 runners with a time of 23 minutes and 11 seconds. Fortna's time was the 3rd fastest in program history. Both teams are now preparing for the PAC Championships, which will be hosted by Bethany College on Saturday, October 27th at 10 a.m. The women's tennis team concluded its regular season on Tuesday when it faced W&J in Washington, which resulted in a tough 5-4 loss for the Waynesburg. After a close score of 4-3 with the Presidents in the lead last Thursday, the match was suspended for darkness and was scheduled to finish on Tuesday. Sophomore Alyssa Daniel gave the Yellow Jackets a chance to pull it out after her victory in the second singles, but the Presidents won the last 2 sets, clinching the victory. Waynesburg now turns his attention to the PAC Championships, which are scheduled to start at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow morning at the Penbriar Athletic Club in Erie. The women's volleyball team looked to break an 8-game losing streak in front of its home crowd Tuesday night when they faced La Roche College. Not only did the team gain a victory, but they were they swept the Redhawks in straight sets. Unfortunately, the winning streak did not last long as the team was swept by St. Vincent last night at the Rudy Marisa Fieldhouse. Their record has now dropped to 6-17 with only one conference win. The team dressed in pink uniforms for the Dig Pink match, and gray and pink t-shirts were sold with the proceeds of the game and the shirts going to breast cancer research and prevention. The Yellow Jackets take on Chatham at noon on Saturday. They swept the Cougars on September 15th, 3-0. And congratulations to junior football player Bertrand Nagampa and freshman soccer player Sierra Scott for being named this week's Waynesburg University Athletes of the Week. Nagampa is honored for his play in last week's win over Bethany, in which the running back recorded a career-high 206 yards on 19 carries and 2 touchdowns on the day. Scott is honored for her 2 shutouts and 9 saves in the past week, in which her soccer squad went 1-0-1 against St. Vincent and Westminster. Congratulations again to both athletes. I'm JD Leidick, and that's sports. Nick Farrell tells you what you can expect in this week's issue of the Yellow Jacket up next.
2 weeks ago, it was announced that Doug Lee will replace Timothy Thyreen as the next president at Waynesburg University. Nick, can you tell us more on the preparations he must make to becoming president next year?
Well, I can absolutely tell you a little bit, but if you want to know the full story, Carson, you're going to have to pick up a copy of this week's paper, which hits stands today as it does every Thursday. And here's a brief foretaste of what you'll read in this week's publication. Earlier this fall, Waynesburg University announced that Doug Lee will become the university's 15th president, effective July 1st. Lee said that one of his top priorities is to continue the development of Waynesburg's strong Christian life. This development, Lee said, was instated by current President Timothy Thyreen. Lee hopes that the school will continue to thrive under his leadership. To read more about this university's 15th president, check out the front page of this week's issue. Waynesburg University students are bringing happiness to children from around the world thanks to Operation Christmas Child. The university has been involved with the OCC for the past 5 years and held its annual OCC kickoff on Friday, October 12th. Empty shoeboxes were given to student organizations to fill with small gifts that will be sent to needy children across the globe for Christmas. Students can contact Pat Brister for their own box or can bring individual donations to student services. And this week is Who's Your Neighbor Week at Waynesburg University, a week-long event that is held each semester. This fall's theme is the end of the world as we know it. The festivities began with Upper Room on Sunday and continued throughout the week with a screening of the movie Testament and chapel speaker Marlon Viss. There's still a chance to take part in this educational event. Tonight at 9:30, the Film Fest will continue with the hit movie The Hunger Games in Burns Hall. The week concludes tomorrow with Students Speak at noon in the Stover Campus Center. Be sure to grab your copy of the Waynesburg University Yellow Jacket newspaper on stands now. To view the jacket online, visit www.issuu.com/WUYellowJacket. And reporting for the Yellow Jacket newspaper, I'm Nick Farrell. With a look at this week's weather, here's Megan Bales.
This past week's weather has been a temperature roller coaster. What can you expect this week? I'll have all that and your 5-day forecast after the break.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 110. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
41 degrees and windy to 75 degrees and sunny. This past week's weather has had it all. This week, expect once again a drastic range of temperatures. Today, expect a high of 63 and a low of 38. There's a 50% chance of scattered showers throughout the day, with winds amounting up to 18 miles an hour in the southern direction. Now for your 5-day forecast. Tomorrow, there's a 30% chance of showers in the evening. Temperatures will rise as high as 64 degrees and drop as low as 40. Saturday will arrive with a high of 63 degrees and a low of 40 degrees. Skies will be partly cloudy. As Sunday and Monday approach, temperatures will slightly increase. Sunday, look forward to sunny skies with a high of 63 degrees and a low of 40. Monday will also bring sunny skies. The temperature will rise, reaching 71 degrees. The low for Monday will dip to 46 degrees. Tuesday will bring a high of 67 degrees and a low of 40. Skies will remain partly cloudy throughout the day. Currently, it is 63 degrees and rainy here in Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. For Channel 14 Weather, I'm Megan Bales.
Thank you for joining us on Channel 14 News this evening.
Make sure to tune in next Thursday and every week for Live at 5. Have a great weekend, everyone.